Welcome to Chasing Curiosity TV. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. The air in Manila is thick with tension. The city, usually alive with the sounds of daily life, now feels subdued, as if the entire metropolis is holding its breath. Even the sky seems to mirror the mood, heavy, gray, and uncertain. Today, the city is somber and watchful. People move quietly through the streets, their eyes glued to their phones and television screens, searching for updates, for any sign of hope or reassurance. Conversations are hushed, and a sense of unease lingers in the air. News alerts flash. 3 Chinese warships have entered the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. The headlines are stark, the implications immediate. This is not just another diplomatic spat, it is a direct incursion, a move that has set off alarms across the nation. This is no routine patrol. These are gray-hulled destroyers and frigates, warships built for combat. Their sleek, imposing silhouettes cut through the waves, a clear show of force. The message is unmistakable. China is willing to escalate. Their presence is a chilling message. Beijing is done hiding in the shadows. The era of quiet intimidation is over. Now, the world can see China's intentions, bold and unmasked, on the open sea. The government places the armed forces on high alert. Soldiers rush to their posts, equipment is checked and rechecked, and commanders issue urgent orders. The military knows what's at stake. This is a test of resolve and of national sovereignty. The nation holds its breath. In homes, offices, and public squares, Filipinos wait anxiously, united by a shared sense of uncertainty and fear. The question on everyone's mind: what happens next? For years, China's Coast Guard and Maritime militia harassed Filipino fishermen. But this is different. There's no ambiguity now. The arrival of warships marks a dangerous escalation, one that cannot be explained away as a misunderstanding or routine enforcement. The scene at 2nd Thomas Shoal is stark. The rusted BRP Sierra Madre, a symbol of Filipino resolve, now faces a blockade by Chinese warships. The old ship, grounded intentionally years ago, has become a frontline outpost, its battered hull a testament to the Philippines' determination to hold its ground. The Filipino Marines aboard stand a lonely, dangerous vigil. Isolated and outnumbered, they watch the horizon, knowing that any misstep could spark a wider conflict. Their courage is both inspiring and heartbreaking. This move is a direct challenge to the Philippines and the international order. It is a test not just of military strength, but of the world's willingness to uphold the rules that have kept the peace for decades. The U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty is being tested. For decades, this alliance has been a cornerstone of regional security. Now its credibility hangs in the balance as both nations weigh their next steps. Will Washington stand by its ally? In the halls of power, urgent meetings are underway. Every word, every decision is scrutinized by allies and adversaries alike. The world watches, knowing this is more than a regional dispute. The crisis has drawn the attention of diplomats, journalists, and ordinary people from every corner of the globe. The power imbalance is overwhelming, but the stakes are global. Trade, security, and the rule of law hang in the balance. The South China Sea is a vital artery for global commerce, and any conflict here could send shockwaves through the world economy. The events at 2nd Thomas Shoal could ignite a much larger conflict. A single miscalculation, a single shot fired, could draw in nations far beyond these waters. The Philippines faces a Goliath, but the world is watching for its response. The courage of a small nation is now on display, and its choices may shape the future of the region. The question now: how far will China go, and who will stand up to them? The answers will define not just the fate of the Philippines, but the balance of power in Asia and beyond. The South China Sea is no longer just a flashpoint. It's a warning. The world is being reminded that peace is fragile, and that the ambitions of a single nation can threaten the stability of many. The next move could change the course of history. Every decision, every maneuver is now magnified, its consequences potentially far-reaching. The world holds its breath. In this moment, the hopes for peace and the fears of war are balanced on a knife's edge, and everyone is waiting to see which way the scales will tip. The appearance of 3 Chinese warships on the horizon is a moment that demands attention. This incursion is significant not just for the sheer number of vessels involved, but also for the specific types of ships that have been deployed. Each ship represents a different facet of China's growing naval power, and together they send a message that is impossible to ignore. According to the Philippine Coast Guard, the Chinese flotilla includes a Type 052D destroyer, a modern and heavily armed warship, as well as a Type 054A frigate, which is designed for multi-role operations. Accompanying them is a large replenishment ship, a vital asset that allows the fleet to remain at sea for extended periods without returning to port. These are not just any ships, these are frontline assets of the Chinese Navy, each playing a critical role in projecting power far from home waters. The Type 052D destroyer in particular is often compared to the U.S. Navy's Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. It is bristling with advanced weaponry, including long-range missiles, sophisticated radar systems, and powerful guns. This ship is designed to dominate both air and sea, making it a formidable presence in any naval confrontation. The Type 054A frigate is no less capable. It specializes in anti-submarine warfare, using advanced sonar and torpedoes to hunt down enemy submarines. It also provides a shield against aerial threats, ensuring the safety of the entire fleet. The presence of the replenishment ship is a clear signal that this deployment is not a brief show of force. With the ability to refuel and resupply other vessels at sea, it enables the Chinese Navy to maintain a persistent presence in these contested waters, ready to respond to any challenge. This is not a fleeting maneuver or a simple patrol. China is making it clear that it is prepared to stay in these waters for as long as it takes, establishing a new normal in the region. By sending these warships, Beijing is sending a direct and unmistakable message to its neighbors and rivals. It is ready to back up its territorial claims with lethal force if necessary. The display of advanced missile systems and armed crews underscores the seriousness of their intent. The distinction between law enforcement and military action has all but disappeared. What was once a contest between Coast Guards has escalated into a standoff involving some of the most advanced warships in the world. Any confrontation with a destroyer of this caliber is not just a diplomatic incident, it is an act of war, with all the risks and consequences that entails. The timing of this deployment is no coincidence. It comes just days before scheduled joint naval exercises between the United States and Australia in the region, a clear signal that China is watching and responding to every move its rivals make. By raising its flag and patrolling these disputed waters, China is warning its rivals. The South China Sea is, in its view, non-negotiable territory. Any challenge will be met with overwhelming force. In capitals around the world, military analysts, diplomats, and commanders are now recalculating the risks. Every nation with interest in the region must reconsider its strategy in light of this bold display of Chinese naval power. The message from Beijing is unmistakable. China is willing and ready to use its growing military might to enforce its claims in the South China Sea, no matter the cost or the consequences. The current crisis in the South China Sea is not a sudden eruption, but the culmination of a tense summer marked by steadily intensifying Chinese aggression. Each week brought new provocations, pushing the boundaries of what the region could tolerate. It all began quietly, with a Chinese spy ship lingering near the crucial Malampaya gas field, an unmistakable signal to the Philippines about its strategic vulnerability and the reach of Beijing's surveillance capabilities. The message was clear: no resource or territory was beyond China's gaze. By August, the situation escalated dramatically. A Chinese Coast Guard vessel deliberately rammed a Philippine supply boat, injuring several crew members and sending shockwaves through the region. This was no accident, but a calculated act meant to intimidate and assert dominance. In September, Chinese ships unleashed high-pressure water cannons on Philippine vessels, shattering windows, damaging navigation equipment, and endangering lives. The attacks grew more brazen, each one more dangerous than the last. Each incident was a deliberate step up the ladder of escalation, a calculated move designed to test the limits of Philippine patience and international resolve. The pattern was unmistakable. From covert intelligence gathering to direct ramming to disabling attacks with water cannons, each stage marked a new level of risk and confrontation. Every move by China was a test, not just of the Philippines' resolve, but of the world's willingness to respond. The international community watched anxiously, aware that the stakes were rising with each incident. Now, with Chinese warships openly deployed in disputed waters and a massive naval presence on display, Beijing has brought the region to its most perilous moment in decades. The threat of military confrontation looms larger than ever. The stakes have never been higher. Diplomats scramble to find solutions while military leaders brace for the worst. Every decision is fraught with risk. The next miscalculation, no matter how small, could ignite open conflict, plunging the region and possibly the world into a crisis with unpredictable consequences. China's use of white-hulled Coast Guard ships allowed it to harass and intimidate while maintaining plausible deniability. Now, the shift to gray-hulled warships marks a monumental change. These are military vessels built for war, not law enforcement. By deploying them to Second Thomas Shoal, China is openly militarizing the dispute. The Philippine military now faces a direct technologically superior threat. Any misstep could lead to rapid escalation. China aims to normalize its Navy's presence, creating a new status quo. Over time, the shock may fade, replaced by reluctant acceptance. This is the ultimate goal: to change the facts on the water and render international law irrelevant. The Philippines responds with a firm, multi-pronged strategy. Manila summons the Chinese ambassador, issuing a sharp diplomatic protest and releasing evidence to the world. The armed forces intensify patrols, shadowing Chinese warships and asserting sovereignty. Every patrol is an act of defiance. The Philippines invokes its mutual defense treaty with the U.S., raising the stakes for China. Joint patrols and new defense agreements with allies like Australia, Japan, and India are accelerated. The goal: build a united front to push back against Beijing's aggression. Chinese provocations have ignited a wave of patriotism across the Philippines. Outrage over attacks on Filipino vessels has united the public, fueling rallies, boycotts, and viral campaigns like #Atenang West Philippine Sea. The demand for a stronger military is now overwhelming, with lawmakers under pressure to act. The armed forces are celebrated as heroes and public support is at an all-time high. This unity gives the government a powerful mandate to defend national sovereignty. The nation stands together, determined to protect its maritime rights. China's gray zone tactics are designed to stay below the threshold of war. Using Coast Guard and maritime militia, Beijing swarms, blocks, and harasses without triggering a military response. Each incident is a cut, individually minor but devastating in the aggregate. The goal: exhaust the Philippines and force a withdrawal without open conflict. The deployment of warships is a dangerous evolution. Armed coercion without direct combat. China dares the Philippines to make the first move. The risk of miscalculation is higher than ever. The gray zone is now razor thin. Is China engaging in brinkmanship or preparing for war? Some say Beijing wants to coerce, not conquer, raising the cost of resistance until rivals back down. Others see a methodical plan. Each escalation prepares the ground for a future takeover. Perhaps both are true. China pushes boundaries, ready to fight if it believes victory is assured. This makes the situation volatile and unpredictable. The greatest danger: a miscalculation that triggers a wider conflict. The South China Sea is a vital artery for global trade. 1/3 of maritime shipping passes through these waters. Any conflict here would send shockwaves through the world economy. China shows no sign of backing down, and the risk of accidental war is rising. At stake is the principle that international law, not force, should govern disputes. If China prevails, it sets a precedent for authoritarian expansion everywhere. The world cannot leave this to the Philippines alone. A united international response, diplomatic, economic, and military, is essential. The choices made now will determine whether the South China Sea remains a channel for peace or becomes the next global flashpoint.